Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Agoracom, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives after they put out important news. Guys, if you're an investor, we know that artificial intelligence is on your mind because it's everywhere. But the downside to that is you can't figure out who the winners are from the losers. So investors are doing their best to find real artificial intelligence companies. Well, this interview, you don't need to look any further because Fobi AI has announced a record contract of $10 million this year, and they had record revenues in Q3, and they've got great visibility for revenues in Q4, and they've done that by becoming a global leader in digital wallet pass technology. So what they're doing is they're using AI to deliver real-time data analytics that drive real-time customer activation by purchases and things like that, engagement, and they're doing it both online as well as in the real world with stores, stadiums, tournaments, arenas, and other large venues around the world, you name it. Some of their biggest customers, because that's what really matters now, we're trying to figure out who's who. BevWorks, that's a company where they got the $10 million 5-year contract. They've also got the Oscars. They've done the NASDAQ. They've done NCAA tournaments. Partners like TELUS and Amazon Web Services, and on and on. And the most important thing is that they've received a lot of awards and made major acquisition space to become that leader. What we're talking about today is some big contract wins over the last couple of months, as well as private placement for $3 million. Rob, welcome back, my friend.
Hey, George, how are you?
I'm good. How's your summer going? You've kept us kind of busy. We've had, since our last talk, you've had some wins, and now we're going to talk about this financing today. How are you guys doing?
Good. We've been staying true to what we've been working on, and people don't always get to see, of course, unfortunately, behind closed doors. But it's been a very busy summer and strategic, I guess, positioning for the fall and for 2024. And part of this, I'm sure we'll discuss today.
Well, okay, let's talk about this first. Fobi AI announces private placement for proceeds of up to $3 million. What's different about this that a lot of people don't know, it's a LIFE, L-I-F-E, a listed issuer financing exemption. And I don't think a lot of investors picked up on that when they saw the press release because they may have seen just the headline. Why the LIFE, and why is that important to individual investors who are watching this for the first time ever?
Well, I think for two parts. I would say that obviously what it means is that traditional placements, you have to be an accredited investor, which has pretty high thresholds to annual income and an equity position in holdings and these sorts of things, as you're well aware. But the LIFE offering now is established to bring in capital from the non-accredited investors. So those people that typically wouldn't be eligible to participate in a private placement now have the ability to do so. Obviously, when we start to look at what does that mean, we've got a very solid shareholder base of long-term shareholders. It means that they're now able to obviously benefit from, in this case, the additional premium and half warrant associated to the shares that are purchased.
Yeah, because we see that in the entire small cap space. George Calm announced a private placement, and one of the first things some investors will turn up and say is, they're diluting the stock, they're letting their buddies load up at a cheap price. But because this is a LIFE financing, the investors who are watching this right now at home can subscribe to it, right? They get the same treatment as a large institution.
Yeah, for sure. It puts on a level playing field. I think it's one of the things that the Securities and Exchange and IROC have done well. I think this sets a bit of a level playing field now versus the sort of backdoor traditional financings that have always been in place. So it was good to see that they've kind of went to this back early, I guess late last year. So it is still relatively new. Not a lot of people do understand. So I'm glad that you did bring that up.
And the other thing about it is not only do you not have to be an accredited investor, but there are no hold periods either.
Yep.
Now, most Fobi people, if you're a shareholder, you're loyal and you're holding on for the growth of the company. But it's nice to be able to do a private placement and not have a hold period at the same time, right?
Well, for sure. Obviously, that's important too. I think part of the reason why they did bring this in is, at market offerings are very, very expensive, of course, and shelf deals and whatnot, where you're looking anywhere $250,000 in cost for issuers. So this obviously is more of a streamlined process. benefits those that are putting their money up, and of course gaining the premium benefit from the warrants associated to the offerings that are out there. In our case here, it's a half warrant, and obviously a very favorable price point for those that are participating, and we'll look to fill this pretty quick here.
Yeah, that warrant, that half warrant, is something that most investors watching this have never had an opportunity to have that. And I've done a lot of private placements in the past, and that warrant, if you believe in the company and it ends up achieving and executing a year, 2 years down the road, man, those warrants are just a fantastic bonus. So for the first time, you're telling Fobi investors participate, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's this isn't something we had planned on. Of course, we over the last year here, I've run a very, very lean ship. I've put in a great deal of money here to extend the run rate and whatnot, and getting back towards cash flow positive of where we're bang on here. And sometimes, like I said, a lot of shareholders this morning weren't very happy because we're diluting the company and this and that. Well, hello, yes. I happen to be the largest shareholder as well that put in a lot of real money here. This isn't something I planned on. This isn't to, keep the lights on here. This is to go after it. There's a couple very significant opportunities here that our balance sheet came to question. Obviously, as you can appreciate, George, balance sheet comes into question not just on business development side, but it's also part of the strategy for shorts and others that look for weak balance sheets that they can attack, especially in growth companies like us. So I think this kind of kills two birds with one stone here, quite honestly. It solidifies our business dynamic as far as where we sit today in the business development opportunities that we're staring us in the eyes here, where this came to fruition and attention and necessity. And like I said, sometimes you got to make hard decisions. Here's another one of those hard decisions, and we're moving forward. And it's
but it's not unique to you, because look, I've been around. I've had a lot of clients the last 25 years, and quite often balance sheet does. George Com is trying to form a JV or do a deal with somebody, and ABC Co says, George, we really like your product, we'd love to use it, but we just want to see a stronger balance sheet to make sure that you're going to be around the next couple of years to service us. So without being too specific, is that kind of what's going on? You're shoring up the balance sheet for appearances, not out of necessity?
Well, that's just it. You're sitting across the table and they say, that's great, you've got the best technology, we feel confident doing business. And then they look at the balance sheet and go, oh, this is a multi-year deal. You don't look like you're going to be around in 3 months. So, can you explain that? And then you got to go through that story as to, where we were, the capital markets, the downturn in the economy, right? Us running a lean ship, getting towards back to break even and cash flow positive. That's great, Rob. Good for you. But, my boss needs to see that you're going to be here in the next 2-3 years as the term of the contract. So it is what it is. Not everything
happens all the time.
Yeah, for sure. It is. I mean, I faced George. Do you know how many contracts I lost early days simply because of that?
Yep.
With huge deals, like huge deals. It's very, very frustrating. It is, but it is what it is, right?
Well, that's because the guy on the other side of the table says, hey, Rob, love you, love the tech, love the company, but if you guys aren't around 6 months from now, I'm going to lose my job because I've just integrated all your software, gone through this massive integration. You're now part of the, our core offering, and now you're gone, and I got to unravel all that, and everyone's going to point the finger to me, and my head's going to roll. So that's the reality, right? But that's good news, right, Rob? What I really want to come out of this is, if that's why you're doing this, that's actually good news.
Yeah, George, I think it's very, I don't have to tell shareholders. I get everyone every day complaining to me about all the different companies that are, seize trade orders and whatnot that they've invested into. It's a very difficult place right now, especially in small cap. We're one of the few, I hear this every day from the institutions now, you're one of the few growth stories that are out there that are in a position to succeed and win. That's, the fact that we have zero debt on our books is an anomaly. I can assure you, in today's day and age of small cap, we've learned this too, because companies we've looked to acquire, everything looks great until we go, oh, you got $4 or $5 million in debt on the books. We can't restructure that where it makes sense. So, you know, they're in quicksand and they're going under. And like I said, for us, we've always worked to stay ahead of everything, to put the company in the strongest position. As I said, there's always hard decisions that need to be made. And the day where people ask me to stop making them is the day I'm done. And it's just the simple reality. I've lost a lot of great friends I've had to let go over the last year here. And, you know, it's for the value of the company and the shareholder. And that's my job. I can't make everyone happy. You know, it used to bug me when I first started, you know, a few years back here, but it's just the simple reality of it now, is that this is a survival cutthroat business now. And
well, you can't make everyone happy today, but if you make the right decisions, you'll end up making everyone happy.
Yeah, and I get it, George,
a year or two down the road when everything really hits your vision at the end of the day.
I think a lot of it too is people are you know, frustrated with the whole world right now, right? There's not a lot of positivity in the world. You know, there's a lot of stress financially for people, and I get it. Everything's way off. You know, I'm look at my sheets too of all my investments, you know, that I kept, and there isn't one that's you know, in the small cap space that's green and thriving. They're all in the same boat. And like I said, if people want to lash out at me, that's fine. I have no problem taking that and accepting it. I can't make everyone happy, but I'm going to do what's best for the company and what's best for long-term shareholder value. And like I said, no one likes dilution, but it would be completely irresponsible for me to walk away from these opportunities. And I would lose my team, quite honestly. How do I go to my team and say, hey, go to, you know, push on them to accelerate the business development on enterprise solutions, and then when we get there, go, oh, okay, no, we can't service that now. So, like I said, we're wrapping up where we need to here, and that's showing up the balance sheet. And I think it kills two birds with one stone.
Well, then on that note, I know you can't be more specific. I wish you could be, but you just can't. But I'm reading in between the lines. I'm reading here from the press release. The closing of the offering is expected to occur on or about September 1st. On or about. Now, two things strike me when I read that. One, you got a decent degree of confidence that this is going to be pretty much spoken for in a short period of time, which is a good sign. And two, if you're getting your financing wrapped up that quickly, even if it's a week later, whatever the case may be, a few days later, a couple of weeks later, would it be fair to assume that it'll be evident to shareholders, you know, a week, a month, couple months after that, as to why you went through this in the first place? Would that be fair to guess that?
I think it'd be fair to say that by the end of 2023, our company will look completely different.
Okay. And you know, I try, because I can feel the shareholders, right? Like I've always said, ask them this, but you can't go any further, but I appreciate that.
No, there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot, like I said, you know, what people would think we've been quiet this summer. No, we haven't been very quiet. There's a lot that Colby and Gavin and I have been strategizing on in the background and working through, and there's a lot of pieces of the puzzle shifting around. And this is one of the key moves that I have to make for many reasons.
Is it fair to say also that wallet, despite everything you've talked about, you know, general issues in the economy, inflation, higher rates, a lot of people are down, the finance are getting kind of squeezed. Digital wallets at the end of the day, wallet pass technology is thriving, right? In fact, almost out of necessity, because all these corporations need to get more efficiency and better data. So is it fair to say that your world from a macro point of view is actually looking good?
We've never been in a better position. Like I said, for where we're going in the accelerated timelines now of some of these deals are very quick. And when we start to look at it, our positioning is GDPR and ISO and SOC 2 data company is putting us right to the top on a lot of these RFPs and opportunities now that we're winning. When we look at the digital wallet and credential piece, Credentials will become a very big story for the next several months in 2024. And we have the best of both worlds. So that's really, really key for us. And it's put us in a lot of new verticals of opportunity that are moving very quickly. And as I said, we've clipped a lot of our competitors' legs, and there's some interesting opportunities ahead here.
Well, we've talked about that in the past. What last year the example was, I went to a Blue Jays game. I had the ticket in my wallet, and it was a dead ticket at the end of the day. Didn't figure out who I was. Didn't give me anything. You and I were talking off camera that I just came back from traveling in Greece, and I was disappointed again that these tickets were either boarding passes or QR codes sitting on a PDF sitting on my phone, but dead again. Like I'm sitting in an airport in France. I'm sitting in an airport in Athens and no one's communicating with me. You think, but you're pretty confident that's all going to be changing in terms of either stadiums or anywhere.
Well, it's a great example, George, because today most people don't understand, but these large operating systems are all siloed today. There's no such thing as interoperability. And you're using the world of airports as an example there. There's hundreds of silos within that ecosystem. So us providing the means and ability to provide a future-proof platform of which they can build architecture now to support all of the different elements, from parking to fast pass security to access and entry for Maple Leaf Lounge and access and entry for your boarding pass. And what do they have in airports? Contain audience full of duty free and hospitality and all these other things. So points and rewards and dollars that are issued for flight delays and transportation vouchers and these things. You think about the hub and spoke model, where we're becoming that hub.
Well, we need it. I'll finish off with my last anecdotal piece. We're walking through Amsterdam, going to our gate, and my wife at one point says, "Man, if I knew that store was here, I would have come to this side of the airport a lot earlier to do some shopping." Now, I didn't bring up to her phobia and wallet pass, but right away, the first thing that came through my mind is, well, we've been sitting in airport lounge for the last hour and a half, and there was no communication of any kind to say, you might not want to sit in the lounge, or while you're here, go to these stores. So I thought about FOBIF even while I was traveling. So I hope, that comes to an end at some point soon. Even though you say it might have been a slow summer, it really hasn't, because you've had a couple of wins, especially in the brewing world. You had a couple of wins there. And then I want to talk about the win with GVCI. That's the tournament that's hosted by Adam Hadwin. But it seems like the brewing industry loves FOBI.
Yeah, the beverage alcohol is a big opportunity, and that's why we brought on David Nichols, of course. Same side of it, we've got a very distinct strategy as to what we bring to the industry, and it's data first, and then it's activation second with the integrated wallet that we have with Barnett. So it's the Western Canada scene here for us is rolling pretty good. We've got numerous projects underway, from data licenses to integrated loyalty for their, as we see with Vancouver Island Brewing, now with Barnett, for a fully integrated loyalty platform for all of their stores and locations, which they own, I think, 60% of the market. There's a lot going in that space. There's some conferences that David will be presenting at, and the keynote speakers, and obviously with his background and credibility that he brings, it's been pretty easy for him to open the doors. So be a lot more coming in beverage alcohol. It's a very lucrative opportunity for us, of course, from a data perspective and user perspective. And is to what you said earlier about digital transformation. That transformative space in the legacy industry is a perfect fit for our technology.
And also, the wins you've been having in beverage and alcohol also point to human nature, which is you got your first couple of wins. Now they're all coming. So
well, it's like
I would hope the same thing in other verticals. If you get a win in a couple of verticals, they just start to cascade as well.
It is, and it's interesting because people years ago used to get upset. Oh, you're doing pilots and use cases. Well, I don't know of any global operation that's going to deploy a company they've never heard of until 3 months ago, right across the system. I think it's ours, the 100% renewal of all the enterprise contracts that we've had this year, speaks volumes as to the value realization of what we bring from a technology perspective but also from a level of service. It's easy to sell something once, but once you go through that 1 year of a contract, that's where it's determined the true value of the technology, and more importantly, the level of service of which you provide to their operation.
Okay, it's amazing that you bring that up because obviously we don't have a script because everyone can tell we're freestyling here in the way we talk. But that was exactly what I was going to bring up about the Hadwin, the GVCI win, because when I saw for the second consecutive year, the first thing that went through my mind is, okay, repeat customer means really happy because most people can sell something to somebody once, and but they won't be fooled again if it doesn't work. What does it mean for a tournament of it's obviously a serious event, right? It's a charity tournament. Adam's got his name on it, right? Jerry Hadwin, I'm assuming, is either his dad or his brother or something like that. That's the organizer. So they've got their personal reputations and names on the line. And if it didn't work last year, they're certainly not going to bring you back. But not did you bring you back, but they said Fobi was instrumental not only for our ongoing team or for our organizing team, but also for our sponsors, attendees, and more importantly, the foundation. We're aiming to bring GVCI to another level, ensuring a seamless, engaging, and impactful tournament experience for everyone involved. Sounds like they loved it. Bottom line.
Well, it just makes sense, right? Because the biggest thing is, I'm sure you've gone to some of these charity events before, is you show up at registration, there's like 7 people at 7 different tables, and everyone's trying to find your name and stuff. And now, I mean, with the pass, all they do is simply come up and tap and check in. They automatically receive all of their different sponsor pass, their breakfast, their luncheon vouchers. All of these things are now embedded into the wallet. Now, from a sponsor's perspective, being out on the course, it kind of made me laugh last year because, you walk up, it's like you go onto the car lot. The biggest anxiety is, oh, great, here comes a sales guy, right? Same thing, you walk up to the tee box and there's 6 people there with a clipboard just waiting to try to get your name and your email and your cell phone number. And I said, guys, look, why don't you join our program? Because with that, you're going to get understanding of who all the attendees were and the communication channels of which we can provide direct to the wallet to be able to promote your services or thank you or well wishes or whatever it may be, is really key. Now you can spend your time on building relationships, telling me all about the great location and proximity to all the points of interest and the food and beverage and all these things that make your resort, what it is today, versus trying to take all my data down, and that's creating just a negative friction experience.
Yeah, I don't play golf a lot, but I'll go to a couple of tournaments a year, and it's the same old thing. Line up, what's your name? Go over there, go over to get that, go and it's a mess, and you're 100% right. Now, does this lead? Do you think this leads to, because now it's Adam Hadwin, who's the PGA Tour winner. When you first started off with Adam, he didn't have as high a profile. But not only is he PGA Tour winner, but he's also the guy who got tackled on the 18th green at the Canadian Open. So he's got higher. This tournament's got higher visibility. So does this lead to potential follow-on business from others in the golf world?
Yeah, it's been a great partnership with Adam. We've received a lot of notoriety. Obviously, he's been very visible this year and success on the course and stuff, and the escapades, of course, with Nick Taylor on the 18th, and that it just speaks to. I mean, Jessica, his wife. I mean, if you follow her on Twitter, she's priceless and hilarious. So they're a lot of fun. Like I said, it's proud for us to work with Adam, and everything. Of course, who he is as an individual first and foremost, but what he's brought to the Fobi banner has been a great deal of from an introduction standpoint and other events that we're doing right now and future events that we're working on for next year already as they're coming to the end of their season here. So it's been a very successful partnership with us, and it's another one too that the notoriety from his fan pass for the digital wallet. I can say there's many agencies and agents out there, and not just golf, but that have reached out to us over the last several months here. Now they're seeing Adam's success with that and what that's meant to him and all that he's had to share about it. So,
well, I can only imagine at this tournament, which by the way is coming up, if I remember, sorry, I didn't write it down, but was it August 29th or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's next Tuesday.
it's probably fair to say, again, this my assumption, always not yours, but they're going to be even more, the quality, I don't want to say the quality, but the profile of the people that are going to become this tournament are probably going to be even higher. And one of the things, at least a couple of them are going to notice is, hey, this is an awesome experience.
Yeah.
How do I use this for my charity tournament or my event or whatever the case may be, right? That I'm
Yeah,
assuming there
for
has
sure.
to be a logical extension of that.
No, it is. It's like I said, when you can experience it firsthand, that's what did wonders with us. I mean, I think I even did an interview with you years ago at T-Mobile Arena
Yeah, of course.
center court there.
Yeah.
And for the ability, we had so many people that go, hey, wow, like how do we use this for our business or our fan experience and these things, just because of them simply being in attendance, right? That's priceless to me. That ability to showcase the technology live in environment is always very dynamic and obviously very productive for us from a business development standpoint.
Well, thanks for joining us, buddy. It's the last week of August when most people are thinking about their last barbecues, their last pool parties before the serious stuff gets going in September. But it sounds like the serious stuff is going to be starting for Fobi in September and maybe October, I guess. So, is it fair to say I'm going to have you back in not too long a time?
You will see me again, I'm sure.
Thanks for joining us, buddy, as always.
You have a great rest of your summer, George.
To everyone at home, you've been watching or been listening by podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, your favorite podcast platform. To Rob Anson, CEO, Fobi AI, Trades in Canada, FOBI, for friends in the US, FOBIF. For those new to the story, because you're looking for an artificial intelligence company and now you've discovered Fobi and want to find out more, go to the profile page on Agoracom because there's a lot going on with this technology. So we've kind of got it laid out in layman's terms for you. Then, when you've got that under your belt, head over to the company's website, do your deep dive due diligence. If you're looking for a real artificial intelligence company that's executing and growing, you've discovered Fobi AI. Hopefully, make your own decision. We can't tell you what to do, but just don't tell us 12 months from now that we didn't tell you so. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. Have a great rest of the summer. See you next time. Hey guys, this video is over, but don't forget to help your company by liking it and even leaving a comment below. And then don't forget to help yourself by subscribing to our channel and never missing another great Agoracom small cap video.